So today is May 1st. Nothing heard here is financial advice. Please exercise respect when talking with others. Please raise your hand if people are talking. Hopefully this will be an interactive space, which we're already kicking it off like that. Already got that. Well, let's read it. Our mission here is to have the X spaces evolve into something beneficial for the entire Harmonauts community, made by the Harmonauts community. Informal or initial format. We've posted some topics. I'm going to read through them, and then we can kind of go through in order or order of interest, which I think we got some good topics going already. So, if anybody's in a hurry, you can kind of just let it be known that you're in a hurry, and we'll get you done first. Thanks everyone for tuning in today and listening in the future. Last, there are 3 Harmonauts that can modify the Google document. If you guys haven't seen the Google document, it's posted on this space. It's readily available. Reach out and I'll share it with you. We're just going to keep circulating the same document so we can get the topics on there that people want to talk about. Got all that. Got that. We just want to engage the community, so I appreciate everybody being here and looking forward to today's show. Some of the topics we have on here: when can we expect HIP 32 to be implemented? Quest lottery. Can Harmony One team please explain the behavior with DexGreener.com, the new Harmony One Explorer update, and Sushi Swap upgrade? Also, does the Harmony One team know if Sushi Swap plans to add Uniswap v3 support for Harmony One? Has there been any communication there? Explain what happens when tokens are burned. I think some people don't understand, like if tokens can be burned on the contracts or get sent to dead wallets. I think that's an important topic. 1 second finality. I saw Kratos' tweets are always on here. Polygon CDK latest update. Continue on Polygon CDK. Finally launched network on local machine. Launched testnet suite with sampler transactions. So I don't know if somebody can ever. I brought that over from last time. So sometimes it'll keep popping up on there till we find out. Will there be a grant program for building on Harmony again? If so, what are the requirements? Implemented BTC EVM wallet, which allows for users to use CLI in order to manage accounts in both Bitcoin and EVM-based chains. That's another Kratos post. I don't know exactly what that means. Crypto Land launch that happened, or Crypto Land DAO launch that happened last night. And go into that for a second before we leave today. If anybody wants to talk about the human protocol, elaborate what's going on there. Always excited or curious to find out what's going on with the Crazy One domain names. We have zero knowledge proofs on here. Harmonauts DAO updates. Chainforce Project G. There's a link in the description. I don't know if anybody can elaborate on that. It'd be great. I wanted to ask now, or maybe later somebody can reach out, how to make LPs for the swap.harmony.1 that can be controlled by a multisig. I'm not sure how that works. Let's see. Will we be able to mint NFTs on BTC chain that interact with one chain? I think that's a Bones question. Harmony One DeFi. There's a new link there that's on the Google document. If anybody can give updates on that. Oh, here we go. This is from Matt Barrett. He can't be here today. He has personal stuff going on. I think basically the Recovery Exchange had 75% of the recovery funds this month, and they already sold out. And we got lucky somehow that we were able to swap one when it was at a higher rate before the BTC dump for stablecoins. So that was a really nice bit of recovery that happened this last month. So that's a little bit of update on that. Also in the Google document, there's a link to the talk.harmony.1 grant proposal. Hopefully people can go chime in on that and see if how people feel about it. Yeah, I think that's basically it. There's some basic notes that I put on the bottom with links like and I'll just keep adding to it as these shows go on. So definitely, I will go into more about why I'm here on Harmony. Definitely sometime during the show, but I just wanted to see if where everybody's at as far as time, and just wanted to kind of do a reset and put all the different topics out there. I see somebody has a request, so I'll just kind of they went bye. So I'll just kind of give it to the room to see if there's anybody that wants to say anything. All right, we'll get into the topic that we started about. So I guess I think before you came on, Dave and I, everybody was talking about how they got to Harmony One, and for me personally, I think it was kind of an accident. I came to Binance because Robinhood didn't have very many cryptos, and I couldn't trade more than like once a day, and so I was sitting on Dogecoin, and it was just kind of sitting there for a month or two, and then I decided just to get a couple cryptocurrencies that Binance US had, and one was one of them, and BET was one. I think I took a nap one day, and then I woke up and one had pumped like, I don't know, 5 cents or something. It was only at like 4 cents, and I just saw then the power of crypto, and then I basically learned how to add the RPC to MetaMask, learned how to send the funds from Binance to on-chain, how to change the OX address for one as a obstacle. Learned about staking and DeFi tokens, and this is kind of where I've come and learned and gotten to know the community, and after the hack, now I'm even more involved with the recovery efforts and recovery teams and the core teams, and so for me, I think seeing that the recovery is happening is a bonus. People building on here, the relationships, the functionality of the chain is fantastic too. And I guess an analogy I use is I'm in the forest out here in Colorado, and I think hopefully the forest fire already came through with Harmony now, and that's a nice, clean, fertile place to build on now, and hopefully we've taken care of the vulnerabilities and we can move forward. So that's the way I've seen it. That some of these other chains might be shiny and stuff like that, but they might be having their own vulnerabilities coming up. So I know Harmony continues to build. There's a huge build team, lots of pull requests, lots of stuff going on. And personally too, I mean, it's super fast, super cheap, and there's opportunity, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here, so there's a whole lot of opportunity if you're here now and building. So that's some of the big stuff that I can say, and I'm just not going to say anything until someone else says something for a second.
Well, he left. I wanted to respond to Omega Kid's question, but yeah, I mean the hog tokens on Harmony, right? Is that that's doing quite well? I mean that
launched the beginning of 2023, and it kind of has a somewhat similar story as Harmony. It was a NFT collection that came out right after the punks, and the builders went anonymous, and the community started their own Discord and token, and it's kind of taken off.
I see this Chain Force single player game on Harmony. It's good to see like these projects I don't know about popping up. But we have base now too, which is very cheap, very fast. So there's like a more competitive landscape. And of course, Harmony has to build that trust back up. I'd be curious to hear from Theo on like his perspective on how they play, how Harmony plans on you know what I mean, competing with all these options now. Or if you're seeing like traction on the DeFi side. I mean, it seems like that from these projects coming out that I haven't heard of personally.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's great to have the. I'll just go real quick, and then you can definitely have it, Theo. it's great to have the Uniswap V3 DEX. It's nice and clean, clean assets. It's complicated to use Sushi Swap right now because of the DPEG numbers. You can't really tell what the heck's going on right there. It's really, really difficult. So I think that's definitely a hurdle that Harmony has to overcome is education for now. Hopefully price action picks up and this recovery effort's just a memory soon. But for now, it's really hard because you have two USDCs and two tethers and two BTCs and two all this other stuff, and a lot of people have a hard time making LP just to begin with. So trying to explain that there's all these endless possibilities is kind of an opportunity if you've been here, but it's it's really confusing if you're just coming on. But yeah, there's lots of building, lots of new projects, new DeFi. Like I said, I mean it's opportunity. There's not a whole lot going on, so you don't have to be a whole huge project to get the attention. So yeah, I mean I'll go later on in the show for what I've been kind of doing personally and DAO stuff and things like that. But yeah, go take it away, Theo, please.
I appreciate it. Love seeing everybody and familiar faces and new faces as well. I think I wanted to answer this in a way that answered your earlier question of how did you find Harmony, as well as David's question of how is Harmony going to compete. Just in my own journey, so again, like found Bitcoin around 2015. Got my first one for like, I think it was like $400. Definitely should have gotten a lot more, but everything's good in retrospect. But then it was more like, okay, Ethereum, Cardano, kind of these early day coins, 2017. And then fast forward a little bit, and now it's not just coins and ICOs, it's DeFi, right? Decentralized finance, where for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, they look at that and they're like, okay, that's not for me. Decentralized finance, what is that? Like, this is way too complicated. I have to be good at math or whatever, like you put your own boundaries before you try to check it out. And at the time, there wasn't really a good, clean DeFi interface, right? There wasn't really something that was easy that people could just use simply, right? There wasn't, like to use Swoop as an example, right? There wasn't one unique place that you could have the best prices and it didn't matter what chain you were on, right? There wasn't, that stuff couldn't exist, right? And looking into DeFi, okay, now Harmony comes around, but for me, it wasn't necessarily Harmony coming around. It was DeFi Kingdoms, and a combination of DeFi Kingdoms and staking. In terms of like an overall staking experience, because I came and I started as like a crypto value investor, right? So I would look at what these chains were doing. I would look at what they were saying they were doing. Were they meeting deadlines? If they didn't meet a deadline, but then delivered late, was it late and bad, or was it late and like blew people away? And the two I was looking at the time was Cardano and Harmony. And I was like, okay, now that we've gone from this proof of work to proof of stake, this next evolution, you can now stake. It's like you had a native thing that you could do as soon as you got into your tokens, right? It wasn't just buying and trading. It was now you could buy, trade, or stake, right? It gave you something that you could do in that process. And I was like, okay, if this is what it can do and this is what I can do with it, let me pick the best ones that like it had my best, like it was the best experience doing. And at the time, I had Cardano listed as first and Harmony listed as second. Just in the fact that with Cardano, within 5 days, I could just pull out whenever, or like there wasn't any daily limit. I can pull out my funds whenever. It was like truly liquid since day one. And then the only thing that you risk is within those 5 days is your reward, but all your funds are yours. So I was like, wow, this is a great experience as a user. Right? Everyone was shitting on it. Everyone still shits on it. That's crypto, But as a user, I was like, okay, this is valuable. And then I looked at Harmony and I was like, wow, this dashboard is super simple. And I can just click on it and stake. And yeah, okay, you have to wait the epochs and everything, but it's still simple. It makes sense and it's easy to follow. It's intuitive. But now you introduce DeFi. And I was like, wow, it like blew me out of the water. I was like, there's no chance I can understand something like this. So Then DeFi Kingdoms comes around. And yes, okay, people might say, oh, it's the biggest game. It was the biggest game and all this stuff. But in my opinion, when I was experiencing it, it gamified DeFi, like GameFi, but not in a sense of like, oh, you just play a game and you're earning. This is like liquidity providing and yield farming and all this stuff was simplified in a way that was enjoyable, right? Instead of providing liquidity and like focusing on making sure you have the same amount of coins on one side and the other, right? You're planting seeds. So all of a sudden, all of this complicated stuff was handled on in the back end, and yeah, okay, you had to sign transactions still, and we're still improving on that UX side of crypto overall as an entire market. But what DeFi Kingdom solved was they took away and abstracted the complexity of a swap and put it into this like fun environment that people could do, people could use, and eventually brought like crazy amount of people, crazy amount of users, new users, and everything to Harmony, right? So it's kind of like you can view it as okay, the protocol, and then the protocol allowed for this platform bringing people, or the platform of DeFi Kingdoms brings people onto the protocol, right? Like you can look at it either way, however you want. But the truth of the matter is that people were using this product, right? People were using this product that leveraged this blockchain. Right? It wasn't you had to pay these heavy fees and all this stuff. So in terms of what David was saying currently, right, with the base chain coming up and they're close. I mean, it is Coinbase, so they immediately have those users that just hold and don't do anything with their crypto, which is a significant amount. There's an article that said that it was 97% of all crypto users don't actually do transactions, right? They don't use DeFi, only 3%. So that's a huge advantage on that side. But again, where can Harmony position itself? That's on the cross chain narrative, kind of the omni chain part of this narrative, looking into AI, looking into these things that if you build in silos, you cannot possibly win, right? Like we're definitely going to go towards a route where the end user doesn't know they're on this chain or that chain. And how does a chain survive? Well, they keep themselves as part of that narrative. And what does that look like? In my opinion, it's more akin to that DeFi Kingdoms route of a lot of people nowadays might not find your chain because it's technically more sufficient. In my opinion, it's still a fight and a battle for the product, the end product that's in the user's hands. Who is going to build the best one? Kind of like the Robin Hood of crypto, so to speak, or something, right? Like, are people going to go into crypto through Swoop and then go onto their dApps, right? Like, is that the path people are going to do? In my opinion, that's much stronger because now you have an app that is seamless. Everybody can use, whether it's DeFi, whether it's AI, whether it's cross chain, whether it's trading, whatever it is, as long as it's easy to use and it's kind of that like that not necessarily Trojan horse, but that flow that people come into. So in my opinion, it's more of a race of that product, right? We can all fight for the cheaper fees. And okay, fees are a bit cheaper than mine and all of that. I understand that. But in terms of the quality of production, right? Like say in the early days, if DeFi Kingdoms had been built on Base, right? Like Base currently, right? So say you fast forward in time, DeFi Kingdoms doesn't exist. You have Harmony in Base, and you have DeFi Kingdoms launches on Base. Then it would become the number one game, but on Base, right? And the same vice versa if it was on Harmony. So it's back into that same narrative. Okay, let's kind of iterate on these demos or these products. Let's test case. Let's see what we can do with AI. Let's see what we can do back with games, back with things that are on chain, NFTs, runes, Bitcoin, like kind of these narratives, and say that it is possible, and then encourage people to build those products that then bring the masses.
Yeah, definitely some good stuff there. I mean, DeFi Kingdoms was also fun too because the prices were just going parabolic and the yield farming was insane fun. And, yeah, definitely. I'm glad that I was into DeFi at that point. I like the fact that Harmony's making it fun too. I mean, I was able to use the Harmony One bot on Telegram. I've gotten people to go over to Telegram just to use that. You're able to leverage the speed and functionality, and I don't know. It's people criticize Steven for bouncing around, but then if he keeps bouncing and he lands on something that's trendy and hip, the people are doing, then that's the ticket, right? Because we just want to be on something hot. So it's bad until it works, So I don't know. It's fun being over here. It's fun for myself. I get to keep on learning. I know the community. Now I know the recovery. It's if you want to do DeFi, you can sit there and like for the token that just launched, I can sit there and collect pennies and literally like stack pennies, and it only costs a fraction, so I could just keep doing that all day long. And eventually, if you keep stacking enough pennies, then it adds up, and you just can't. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to name drop, but a lot of chains, it's just not possible to be able to be that quick, And I guess base too. Then base, you're a little more vulnerable, I think, in my opinion, with my limited knowledge. But I mean, then you're building on top of another network that, then you have more variables that could change at a more rapid pace. I mean, it's cool too. I mean, they're going to be innovating, getting the Lightning Network going if they don't have that already. I mean, they have some awesome stuff, and they have endless funds, and that's going to be great stuff. But just being over here, when I personally use other chains, it's just not as good of a user experience. So I don't know. I appreciate the DeFi aspect. I appreciate the DAOs, the groups, the builders. I also hear that it's a really friendly building on Harmony One. If you have smart contracts, there's some lag on there, I guess. But as far as like actually building and messing around and building projects, getting your stuff together, it's still, I think it's hard for me to speak like that because I don't actually do it, but I talk with a lot of people that do. And just I talked with Calliope today that they said they love building over here because it's just more friendly for whatever reasons. You have to talk with the dev, but I appreciate the staking, the DeFi, just learning. Like another thing that he said too was he follows the GitHub, and just the amount of pure building that's going on, behind the scenes with Harmony. It's insane. It's awesome. So the potential's there, the community's there. That's I think everything else will just kind of fall into place. But that's kind of my perspective. We could move on to another topic, or we can swoop it up. We could DAO talk, or we could if I know Bones, you had a topic on here. Peace and love, you had a topic. So yeah, again, people jump in. You got 6 mics open here. Anybody can come on up and request a mic and talk too. So try to make it interactive. See what people want. I'm not afraid for personal questions or whatever. I think it's good that we're here. It's good that we're communicating, and that's another thing too. When I was talking with Sam from Calliope, he's on BNB and he's on Solana now, and he's having problems kind of trying to get the English speaking people more interested on the Harmony side. But whenever I asked him about like communication on BNB or communication on Solana, it's not available. It's might be lacking on Harmony, but people are available. If you reach out, you can actually talk to builders and talk with the core team, where it's just impossible on some other chains. So I like to just kind of point that out, that communication may not be perfect, but at least it is happening and people are available over here. So that makes a huge difference. You got the several different forms of texting ways to get a hold of people. That's definitely a big part of why I'm trying to help out here is see what people want, right? So this is a time for what people want to talk about. So I'll just leave it there for a second.
I guess I can throw in a question. I'm not sure if you've heard anything, Theo, or not. If there's been a timeline on when HIP 32 is going to be implemented yet for the hard fork.
Yeah, so I was looking into it, and I see an update from Soph. And this also covers, I think, in terms of general things. Um, well, actually, let me answer first. So the timeline I would say is estimate of a month. So hopefully by end of May, because there was a testnet and devnet issue. And I'm looking at the exact post from Soph. Um, so having to do with crosslinks between shards, so shard one and shard zero, and that um, if the crosslinks become stuck for an entire epoch, shard one validators may find themselves with zero signing activity by the epoch's end. Okay, yeah. So and this was resolved. So it's more there was a delay because again we don't want to do an entire hard fork when we find these issues in the testnet and the devnet. So it's kind of there's normal procedures. So things are working. This is not necessarily like something that oh now we can't do HFA32. This is something that's just normal processes of making sure that it's not on mainnet and then we have these issues. But yes, things are still being worked on, still being active. I would estimate a month. I can reach out to Casey and try to get a more definitive answer. I've seen them work hard on finding a fix and implement a new logic for this so that it doesn't happen. And then the last thing I would say is that this is all on the GitHub. So not only is there activity, but there's also progress updates. So a lot of the posts that you'll see from Kratos are just pasted from those. They so we do share kind of daily updates of things that we do. Obviously, there's a lot that we can't just say publicly. So it's kind of like there's kind of a mix between it of what we actually did during the day and then stuff that we leave out. But on a general high level, it's very, very transparent in the sense that not only do you see the GitHub commits that people will do, and you'll see the repos and the additions to the code, but this, for example, you'll see like Soph answering your question, right? Which is actually this goes back to last week, which would be pretty cool if we could funnel these updates directly into the AI bot on Telegram, and you could essentially just you can ask, right? You could essentially just ask your exact same question that you asked in this space, and the AI bot pulls from the GitHub and pulls from this and says, like Soph, or one of the developers, recently said this, this, and this. An estimated time would be this, or it could tell you like who to potentially reach out to get that information. And on that front, Tenacious and I, we did we started that doc so that we could train the data that's needed for that bot. Um, but again, that's something that we still need to implement. But that's just a long way to say about a month.
Yeah, I looked at the Google document that you shared with me. That's very vast. I wasn't expecting that. I think if there's any holes that you know of, reach out because it's kind of like looking through a telescope. You go in there and it's link after link and after link after. Oh my gosh! So is all that information already in the Harmony One bot, or is that just available to go in there at some point?
So that's available. So I kind of I went into all our docs as if I was say like a new user or something. And I was like, okay, if I'm a new user to all of crypto, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to get MetaMask, or I'm going to have to get a wallet first. Am I a new user and I'm on Ethereum? Okay, then I want to make sure that I know that the address is transferable and I don't really have to worry about that. The first thing that I should look at is the bridge, right? Or what is the least amount of friction from your current location, or like location based on your history, experience, and all this stuff. Based on that, and this goes for any of you guys that know what information architecture is. That's kind of what people will do for website building. They'll kind of go down and say, okay, we want developers to find a way to have the least amount of friction so they can start coding on our platform, or we want the biggest issues and resources to be readily available. So in this case, I was going through our docs and I was like, okay, if I'm user A, user B, user C, and all this stuff, right? What would I want to know? What information do I need? How do I get to my destination with the least amount of resistance? And if the bot has that information, then the bot is going to be the least amount of restriction or least amount of friction for all of these, right? Your onboarding experience is handheld by this bot that knows who you are, what your experience is, and knows the Harmony ecosystem so well that now it's like you can, and this goes back to intent based, where it's no longer the user who goes through endless YouTube videos and Discord channels and talking to developers or talking to other people or scrolling on Twitter or all this stuff that we've all done in our current state. We probably still do it, right? Like we do that manual effort of going through, okay, what is good and what is bad, that mental kind of filtering, as well as new things, right? If there's like Bitcoin runes, for example, or like DeFi or like cross-chain swaps, for example, right? We'll go through YouTube, we'll see the site, see if it's reputable. If we even find the page, right? There's probably so many pages that we don't even know of that are maybe excellent, right? And in that case, like it's hard to get to those situations. Like there's so much manual effort that the end user in Web3 needs to go through, that of course 97% of all crypto holders are just going to hold it, right? They don't want to mess. They don't want to go through that extra effort. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's ingenious, but maybe it's just because I thought of it. But if you had the one bot on the Harmony One website, because then they could just click on the one bot, then they automatically have the wallet integrated as long as they have a phone number, which most people have a phone number, so they have a Telegram, so they can have instant Harmony, instant AI. If there was like some sort of a faucet, like you talked about, that could just be a budget that's basically priceless. If you could have that, and then they could be in there, and if they like, if they do a swap or if they like what they see, they can be like, okay, how do I bridge funds to Harmony? It's like, it seems like a good place to put money. If you could have, I don't know, I mean, if you could have the Telegram wallet there, I mean, it's already, I don't know if I'm making sense, but if you can click on the website and then you have the Harmony One bot, then you already have, I don't know how it works on the backside, but it uses the MetaMask and you can fund it, so it has a wallet going there. It's interacting with Harmony. So you could, if you gave somebody like 3 cents in gas, they could learn about it, and if they liked it, they could bridge over funds from wherever, I don't know. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Like also, like I'm trying to think, and Derek can correct me on this one for Swoop Exchange. But I think it's like the only place where people, or at least it was at some point, I know that people who still had funds in DeFi kingdoms, because they took down their Harmony front end, if they had either like they provided liquidity or they wanted to use that swap. The only place you could do that was through Swoop, right? So imagine now if someone comes in, an ex-user of Harmony is like, hey, I use DeFi kingdoms and I had some fund in there. Is there any way that I can get it out? And it immediately replies like, hey, like go to Swoop Exchange, and then you can do that. That's where it's available. If you need help, here's a link for support. Right? Like that takes off an overhead that is absolutely insane in the world of crypto. Like that's probably the amount of loops you would have to jump through, or sorry, hoops you would have to jump through, and then people you would talk to, and iteration after iteration. The end result is you don't, unless you have like a ridiculous amount of funds and you're going to go to the end of the earth. Okay, fine, maybe you'll go through all those hoops. But most people are like, oh, I had stuff in DeFi Kingdoms, yeah, that's gone, that's lost. Well, it's like, wait a minute, like there are ways to get it, and if we made it easier for people to see those ways of doing things, then it helps everybody, in the space.
Yeah, maybe you could just be like, find my Dust LPs, right? I mean, I remember back when I was, I don't know, I was going to use a different sex analogy, but I won't. When I was just getting introduced to LPs, I think I unstaked it from the rewards pool, and I did something, and then I couldn't see the LP address for whatever reason. Maybe I zeroed it out, so it wasn't in my wallet, so I didn't know where it was, and I thought that I just lost all my funds, but all it was I just didn't know the LP contract address. I mean, yeah, so I mean, if you had the LP breaker ability or whatever, I mean, it just seems easy. If you can click on a website and if you have a phone number, then you already have the Harmony RPC and gas, and you're doing DeFi. I mean, I think like whenever you go from a centralized exchange, it's like you're on the edge of a building. You don't know if you should take another step, or you're just cautious of just even being able to send your money across this whatever 50 string letter thing that it's called a wallet, a crypto wallet. It's so crazy. People just it's hard to fathom. You just keep copy and paste somebody a text message and then send them $1 million in 10 seconds. People just don't get that stuff. So I mean, it's so cool if you could introduce and just tease people. I think if people could just have a taste of it, then they'd be on. So I think I don't know. One other thing kind of jogged my memory, and it came up. I don't know if you were in the conversation, Theo, or not, but if there's been any kind of development on the old story, the same old question of how to change your one address to your OX address. Has the team been talking about any kind of way to do that? Because that's one thing that's really hard for onboarding people to Harmony, is they can't send funds. And I think when I first started, I think I had like 4 wallets, and one of them converted the correct way or something, because I didn't know how until I had to learn how. But after you learn, it's pretty easy. But has there been any development on trying to make it so you can just send OX to OX without having to do the conversion?
In terms of, so none more so than the write up of exactly how this would go down that I did earlier. So for context, I think this is in the recovery group. Maybe somebody asked it, and I answered it. So for the people in space who might not be in there, exactly right. Like that, like it's a huge onboarding difficulty with not necessarily that big of a change, right? Technically the one address, right, 1 and then the address and the 0x, right, are backwards compatible. So whichever one you prioritize is backwards compatible with a different one. So you don't necessarily have to prioritize the one address. So if you're going from Binance, everything, to then Harmony and all this stuff, you could do it all from 0x, right? And you don't have to worry about sending it to the right address or the wrong one. Which in terms of user experience, much better, right? We can all agree it's much better. It's the same address. You don't have to go to the Explorer, where 98 or 99% of the time you're using the Explorer is just to change your one address, right? If that's the use case for it, then it's not good, right? There's a flaw in the system. And then so yeah, in the draft that I wrote, it had kind of step by step, and where the hardest one is the exchanges, right? Because you have to, that's on their end to change it. And then on the Explorer, you just flip whichever one's prioritized. That's fine. That's like, I think it might even be a line, if not 2 lines of code. And then in terms of the people that are currently using the one address, if now we would prioritize the other one, again, it's okay because they're backwards compatible, so they can continue doing so. But yeah, it went back to the biggest one is um, uh, the what is it? The exchanges, yeah, the centralized exchanges to be um, I don't know, like go they have to put in an effort to accomplish this. Which in my opinion, right, if we have this written out and it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure if we did reach out and we said like, here's what we're doing, are you guys on board and all of this? It is possible, but currently it's not at the top of the list of the priorities. Currently on that front, it's more of a push with Coinbase, which I can share a little bit more details here because again, that's a form that I'm filling out because I was also interested, right, just personally, because I came from a user of Harmony and heard these things with Coinbase and Coinbase Talks, and then move forward with reaching out to old connections that we had and trying to find people. Um, and now with those forms and kind of questionnaires, we're going through and making sure that we answer the questions well and give us the best chances. And again, try to update our community during the process, right? Like openly kind of sharing these things. And is it a done deal? No, I mean we all know Coinbase and certain things, but I would say it is good that we're um, at least actively pushing forward and talking to people on that end rather than just dead conversations because then there is no like hope or anything.
Yeah, I actually had a Coinbase. I had a Coinbase wallet set up for I think from the last run, but I didn't have wasn't able to hook my bank up at the time, so I went to hook it up again in anticipation of getting Harmony over there, and I had like $6 of BTC on there still, so not quite retiring just yet. But what if you had another thing that could be like on the website? Couldn't you maybe have that as well? Just you could just instead of having to go to the Explorer, you could just copy your address in there and toggle it there, or maybe have a toggle on MetaMask, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it can just get toggled. I know it's not, it's real easy, right? It's easy after you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like taking whatever's on the Explorer and putting it in as many places as we can so that people don't necessarily have to leave their dApps or things like that. I know MetaMask is unlikely just because of their process of building. Um, at least currently, I think if there was if they ever open source mobile, then we could probably do it on our end. But I would say, yeah, the best bet would be, I mean, ideally it's all 0x, right? The 0x wallet, and we kind of, yeah, just make the user experience much better.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I think what I have to do is I copy the address. If I'm on mobile, two things. If I'm on mobile, I can copy the address in the Explorer and just keep it on my clipboard on my phone, so it's always there, clipped on my clipboard. So that keeps it pretty easy. And then the what was that MetaMask one? Um, dang it, dropped out. Oh well, that's all right. It's all just the hurdles of onboarding people. I think I don't know. It's until like you said, until people don't know that they're even on the blockchain, then we still have a lot of work to do, I think. Um, could you share anything about the? Do you know anything about the Kratos post, the Polygon CDK latest update? Did you see that one?
Yeah. So again, that's more of that cross-chain narrative, like in terms of Harmony success and Harmony, what we're focused on. It's kind of these branches of ecosystem DeFi then a layer extended, it's Bitcoin narrative, then a layer extended again, it's cross chain. And that cross chain has to do with Polygon SDK, Cosmos IBC, kind of these platforms that bring these chains together, and seeing how we can integrate or fork or kind of bring that same, excuse me, the same interconnectedness that they bring to the space and bring it to Harmony. And then now the applications that can be built on Harmony is seamless with cross chain, right? Rather than and Swoop was here earlier, rather than Swoop having the burden of building it from scratch, and they've done an amazing job. And it's kind of bringing that, and they're applying it to a decentralized exchange, right? So now it's bringing that infrastructure and allowing games or AI applications or just more DeFi, where people can kind of customize it in the way that they want, where it might be built and start on Harmony, but again, exactly like you said, you don't necessarily know what chain you're on, and you can go wherever you want. It's kind of like your wallet is going to be the same that it would be today, where you can hold whatever currency you want from whatever country, and then easily online, you can like just automatically seamlessly transact with whatever you want, because it's cross borders and all this stuff. So um, that's more pushing towards the cross-chain narrative, where you can build cross-chain applications. So think of like, I don't know, maybe like Robinhood style apps, but um, for a cross-chain like mobile experience, where uh, all of these dexes and dApps and everything is all available in one place. You can put one in all caps, and then now it's like you go into the Harmony narrative. But that's like that's the vision and the process with that. Current progress is not necessarily playing around, but just seeing, okay, Polygon SDK is here. What can we do with it? And then is there a way that we can either fork or integrate? That way, Harmony has that connection ability. So like the app developers who want to build on cross chain don't have to worry about, or like we're trying to reduce the number of choices where a developer might see Harmony as a chain and say, oh, I would rather go to Polygon SDK because I can build and this can be cross-chain natively. So it's kind of making sure that we tack on those technical toolings. That way people can come and develop seamlessly.
I'm keeping up. I'm starting to get it more. So I mean, this is same but completely different. I mean, and maybe we need to have somebody else. But I mean, is it even possible to potentially someday have a Harmony shard that just processes native BTC? Can that even be done? Like, there's just like solely a shard that just has native BTC, so that but at the price, sending it with the price of one and the speed of one.
I think so, yes, but not necessarily in a way that the shard itself would be processing native Bitcoin. I think like there would never be a situation where the native Bitcoin would actually be on shard one, but in terms of a shard itself kind of pointing out and reading Bitcoin, I think that's definitely doable. I think in terms of from a technical standpoint, it would be most similar to something on ICP called Chain Key Bitcoin, Chain Key BTC. At least from what I've seen in the space, that's what it would most likely look like. And rather than kind of either smart contract or I think they're called canisters over there, rather than that base, it would be more so the the shard itself and then Harmony validators that are in charge of, okay, let's effectively read and write to the Bitcoin chain from this shard. I'd say it's possible. I think in terms of um, prioritizations and things that we might expect within the next few months. Ideally, I would want to say like hell yeah, we're able to do it. But most likely, I would say it'd be something that people build later on. But yeah, no, I think, but that does touch on a good point about that people might have forgotten that like Harmony wasn't always two shards, right? It wasn't always shard 0 and shard 1. Is 4, and that up or down, we have now experienced the technical kind of aspect of what would be needed to scale in ways that we want, right? Shard 1 with the narrative of trying to go more games and more AI. And right now, our push is to get AI data on chain, and we can see kind of what we do with that. But yeah, there could be kind of shard 2 or 3 or stuff like that is kind of dedicated to Bitcoin.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I confirmed with Casey and Soph that since they were able to do HIP 32 V2, I think that's what it is. I'm starting to get them confused, but whenever they're able to get rid of the shards, they can just as easily build them up or take them down. Now they got that, that's in the pocket. That's easy. So if you need to add it on, you could have a shard for this and shard for that, and keep on going, right? If you had, if is Polygon and Base like kind of the same kind of thing? If you can get to one, you can get the other. Or are they two totally different beasts? Or is Harmony pushing for one more than the other? Or same thing or different?
So they're slightly different. How can I explain it? So in essence, they do the same thing, right? They're trying to pull away from, like, they're trying to solve ETH scalability and fees. They do so in different ways. So Polygon itself is a layer 2, and then Base is Optimism. So Optimism is a layer 2, a different layer 2 than Polygon, and Base uses Optimism's. I think it's either an Optimism rollup. Someone else might know more than me, but it uses it's an OP stack chain. So it's basically just Optimism but rebranded as Base. And again, the final result is to reduce the fees. So the biggest difference is where the settlement happens. So where kind of transactions are verified and all of that is still on Ethereum, but the fees are much lower. And kind of the advantage of Harmony is, which is crazy, is that it's both a layer 1 and a layer 2, right? Because you can run Ethereum applications, you can run EVM at layer 2 prices. So it's like in terms of the early days of what Harmony, or not Harmony, what Ethereum was trying to do with ETH 2.0, that whole narrative, which is now, I think that now like ETH 2.0 isn't a narrative anymore. Now it's just like, okay, what's the next update for ETH, right? They had the big merge and all this stuff, and they went to staking, and then account abstraction and all these different things. And like 2.0 has kind of gone under the radar, and now they're just doing periodic updates. But that was, I don't know if it was 4 years, maybe it was 2 years. But Harmony was like 2-3 years ahead of the game in terms of staking, sharding, and something that you'll get soon, if not already, with Ethereum is the dank sharding. So Harmony was ahead of the game, and is like in its current state, like on par with Ethereum with these updates. Account abstraction would be nice. That's something that we've pushed for internally, to kind of make sure that we're up to date with all these things, as well as innovating on our own. But to answer your question in terms of kind of, is Harmony the same or different? Like, it's unique in that it's a layer 1 and can function as a layer 2.
No, I mean, no. The main question is would there be a priority to go to Base first or Polygon first? I understand that they're both different, but I understand that Harmony is different than those, but those two are pretty similar-ish.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, my bad. So to that front, it would be that the Polygon SDK we would be more interested in, and then Base we would like just pure interoperability with the Base chain itself. We don't necessarily need an entire. I mean, we do have an Optimism roll up. I believe that we recently did on SHA-1. And then looking into Celestia as well, but the first one we did was Optimism, and that works in terms of from a technical standpoint what they were able to do, but from a narrative standpoint in terms of Polygon or Base, I think especially with all the users that can potentially flow to Base, it's interoperability, so simple like easy gateways and things that you can go from Base to Harmony seamlessly. And then Polygon SDK is so that your dApps are able to connect to the exact same things that the Polygon SDK allows for.
I got you. So I mean, it's basically somewhat leveraging kind of what ETH does now with the way that they're using their L2s to just be another tool for Harmony to be able to kind of do the same thing, right? Ish.
Exactly. It's kind of like as the rest of the space develops, we want to make sure that Harmony is easily positioned to connect to everything, right? If we are going towards this narrative that there is no single chain that might win out and that it's going to be this omni-chain space, then like say like in a minute case of maybe I don't know, transacting from 5 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays, right? Like it's cheaper than it's cheaper to transact on Harmony than it is on Base. I don't know if you guys have ever used the Waze app, or I think different map apps can do that, where you can see the traffic projected later on, and then you can base your travel based on that. And eventually there might be something like that for transactions or a DEX, a decentralized exchange, or swapping funds or transacting things, or like you can select networks now whenever you swap. You can select ETH or whatever. If it's EVM, you can select all these different ones, but there's not really that clear of just because there's probably not enough data to know when the fees are what, right? Like it's you mostly know when you're trying to pay a fee how much the price is, and you're like, oh man, this is a lot. At least if you're on Ethereum, and then yeah, later on it might be something where it's a little slider or something, and based on the time, like you can, I don't know, say if you want to send $100, you can do 10 in the morning on Base, 10 on Harmony, 10 on Polygon, 10 on Optimism throughout the day. And you basically just have an AI that does that for you. And you just say like, hey, I'd like to send $100 by the end of today. Please do so with the cheapest amount of fees. And if you did it all in one, at one point in time, that might not actually be most optimal based on all of these chains that exist today.
That makes sense. I've seen some kind of gas gauge around lately. I don't know if it was on the Explorer or maybe it's MetaMask. I don't know, or maybe it's on the portfolio thing. I know that the portfolio is coming out. It's hard to keep up if you're trying to actually use this stuff as a user. So I mean, it's cool that there's so much going on from my perspective, from trying to keep up and learn. The other thing I was trying to remember was I thought it was pretty bullish that whenever you go to add a new MetaMask on a mobile phone, the Harmony RPC is just there now. I thought that was cool as heck too. So you don't have, that's another way, that when I first came to Harmony, I had to learn to send off the exchange, and then I had to learn how to stake but whenever I learned about OneMoon, I couldn't buy it because I didn't have MetaMask. So it took me a week to find the right information. After all that, you learn that it's just copy and paste, but you have to copy and paste the right thing in the right place. And it took me a week. So it is what it is. So it's I really appreciate that. We're right up there with AVAX and BNB and ETH comes on there. There's like 3 or 4 other ones now. Harmony's on there, so I thought that was pretty cool. Do you know if you can how you get the LPs in the swap.harmony.1? Do you know how that works with the multisig? Have you done it with do you have experience with that, or know would the ProtoFire team be good to ask about that? Because I have, if you have a Sushi Swap, you do it and you get the contract address and you send the LP over, but I think it's different on the swap.harmony.1. But I think it's there. I know you can.
Yeah, sorry, I think you might have cut out at the end, but were you asking about the LPs on swap.country?
Yeah. So sorry, it totally gave me the boot. So yeah, if you do it on Sushi Swap or any V2 that I've seen, you generate a new contract address and then you can just move that LP around with that address. But I've had different experience whenever you make an LP on the swap.harmony.1. I don't think it makes that new LP. So I just wondered how you can have I'm asking because with the Harmonauts DAO, I'm personally holding the LPs, now it's, several $1,000s, and I'd rather have that in the multi-sig than be responsible for that. And then now I'm going to have to go through it again coming up. So I know you can stake real easily, and I'm pretty sure it's not that hard. It's just I just didn't know if you know how to do it, or if it's like a ProtoFire Discord question.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I probably know how to do it, but regardless, I would say ProtoFire, especially like as funds increase, like definitely go the safest route and see what they say. So you're saying right now it's not in a multisig and it's an LP, and you want to just bring that LP to be held by the multisig?
Yeah, like when I make when I put Hog and One together on Sushi Swap, there's 2 contract addresses. When I put those 2 together, it becomes another contract address, and then I can just transfer that LP to the multisig. I've done that. But then on the other one, I don't know if it's maybe because it's unknown DEX maybe, or if it doesn't generate that new contract to be able to move it, or if it's just something like real easy that I'm just not noticing. One thing I did do was I was signing in on like my second wallet, and then I had the LPs on my sixth wallet or whatever, and I decided to take off my second wallet and just make the sixth wallet that had the funds the signer for the multi-sig. So yeah, maybe I can go on Dex Screener again and try to just make sure that there's not a new contract that's generated. But yeah, I don't know. I can't, if I make an LP on swap.country, then it just sits in my wallet because I don't know how to transfer the LP.
Yeah, you should be able to. Exactly like you're saying, right? Like it creates that new contract of just that LP, which in Uniswap v3, I think is the case, or at least should be. So yeah, I would definitely just check with ProtoFire, and they can walk you through it. Again, I don't want to give you misinformation and say, oh, because it works on these other versions, then it works on Swap as well. But it should, right? Just because of the creation of the contract, and then because I've seen people on was it OpenSea or something, right, where you can just trade, right? You can trade LPs, and I've myself I've bought some in the past. So I would say that it is something that you can do. And if like Swap is a fork of Uniswap v3, therefore the exact same functionality should be present there. But again, yeah, just to make sure that you do everything right, I would say to go through Protify.
Or maybe I can even like look on the Explorer and look for the contract address. I don't know. Like maybe Dex Greener wasn't generating it. I was just trying to go the easy way out. I had people on here, so I can maybe do some screenshots too sometime. Cool. I'm gonna give the other speakers a chance to say something. Otherwise, I'm gonna do a little DAO talk and see where we're at. I know Bones, you had a question on there. If you want to ask it, you can. If not, then we'll wait till whenever you do want to ask it.
Like in a way, it was kind of answered. You're talking about like the cross chain, like if for Bitcoin, like nothing will be on its own chart, but I think it got answered.
Okay, cool. But if you're good, I'm good. It's something about I can do it. Will we be able to mint NFTs on BTC chain that interact with one chain?
Yeah, I mean, like I know you can't mint on the Bitcoin chain, but inscribing, but have the value of that. So instead of bridging, it would just basically have access on the Harmony chain to be able to do stuff with the power of Bitcoin without costing an arm and a leg for gas. But I think he kind of already answered that earlier.
Well, I know there was going to be a flip, and I don't know if the flip's still existing, but I thought there was going to be like a Harmony to BTC flip. Is that available to you?
Yeah, so that's available. Sun, who's the developer who built it, is currently working on other things. And in terms of custodians and making sure that everyone knows what is going on, I think that's kind of that last step of making sure that like it's more of like this a seamless process. But yeah, no, 100%. So that leverages inscriptions on Bitcoin as well as Harmony in a way that you can specify your target address. So again, when you inscribe, you're just sending something like a text or string or hexadecimal inside of your transaction, right? So and transactions are always permanent on a blockchain, rather than doing these things where it's just a pointer in the metadata where you go to something that's off chain and then you can see your little NFT. This is now the hex code is directly inside of the transaction and it's there forever. So on that front, what we did is we put in the opcode or op return code for Bitcoin, right, where you inscribe, we put the hex of a Harmony address or like a 0x, for example, and you can immediately flip, right, the amount that you want onto to Harmony, right? So say you have one bunch of one tokens and you want to get to Bitcoin without paying any fees on a DEX or a centralized exchange, you can just flip and flip there. Like the money has to come from somewhere, so it's kind of you're given within the hour. You're given the high coming in and the low coming out. So you're the custodians, the money that they earn is based on that volatility within the hour, and then for you, what you effectively pay to do this is that volatility within the hour. So if there's no volatility within the hour, then the person who's flipping had an amazing experience because they didn't have to use any single fee. Especially if they go from Harmony to Bitcoin, the only thing that they need to do is pay the fee to get away from Harmony. because that's the way that it's covered is okay. The chain that you're coming from, sorry, that is still paid. So when you write your transaction with your destination, so say on Harmony, you inscribe your Bitcoin address, and when you inscribe, you send this transaction to the Flip wallet, right? Because if you just sent your Bitcoin address within a transaction to some random person, they can't do anything with it, right? There's nothing like built into that contract. There's nothing like, they're just going to be like, okay, thanks. Like I can't do anything with this. But if you send it to the Flip address, it's a contract that's reading it and knows, okay, it's receiving this amount of money. Now let me go check CoinMarketCap or whatever it may be, right? Because you don't necessarily need to use Chainlink or anything, right? Let me go to this site. Let me take the 1 hour high and then 1 hour low. Okay, now I have that amount. Where do I send it to? Oh, the person sent me their Bitcoin address, and then the contract sends it to their address, and there's no one. So there's no one in that loop whatsoever. It's not a human. It's not a multi-sig wallet. It's not a bridge. It's not. There's no people that effectively own your thing, right? So all it is a contract, but where does the money come from, right? Because you can't just out of thin air, you can't go from Harmony to Bitcoin, right? I mean, I wish you could. Maybe in the future we will. But in terms of what we can do now, the custodian is the one that supplies the Bitcoin, right? So effectively, they're the liquidity providers. And the way that we see this is first we'd start with a few custodians, test it small, make sure that it works, and then you could expand it exponentially where, okay, now we have this contract and we can have all these liquidity providers, and now you expand to something that's more akin to like excuse me, like a cross-chain liquidity providing or that kind of aspect. But again, there you would have fees, and in this case, it's just seamless where you go straight from Harmony to Bitcoin without like the 10 steps or whatever you need in a centralized exchange, without the absolutely absurd fees. And yeah, it's just it's a different way to get from A to B.
Nice, thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to do it sometime. All right. Do you have any kind of juice on the Harmony as a BTC layer 2? Any kind of update-ish teaser stuff going on there? Is that still a big priority, or is that last week's news?
Yeah, so I do have an update. Let me see if I can find the exact thing. This was with runes specifically, with Jackie from Another World, who is also into Bitcoin and the Bitcoin narrative. And this was, okay, I'm not finding it, but essentially, Jackie and some people internally created a draft on kind of what we can do and what makes sense for Harmony and Bitcoin, and effectively creating like a layer 2 where people can play around with runes or playing around with Bitcoin, essentially what they are now, like Bitcoin native tokens. But instead of paying the, again, ridiculous fees on Bitcoin, they can do it from an environment on Harmony. So that, in terms of the update that I have, all I can say is that yes, it's still on the radar. Parts of it is yesterday's news in the sense of exactly how it's most likely going to roll out. And then I think if I can find that exact like write up, but again, I don't know if that's something that will continue pushing. So I don't want to say like, oh, this is where we're at. This is definitively what we're going to do.
You could maybe
Yeah.
put it like, throw it on the notes on the bottom of the one show doc if you want. Maybe just maybe put a disclaimer, if you want.
Yeah, that I can do. But yeah, essentially it's just a write-up of kind of this Rune initiative for Harmony and Bitcoin in a way that makes sense for both chains.
Nice. I love anything Harmony BTC related. Yeah. Appreciate your knowledge too, Theo. Cool. I'm gonna roll into some DAO talk. I did want to talk about just a quick Harmonauts history and then how it rolls into the CryptoLand thing. I just didn't want to do it at the very beginning. So in case people want to come on, talk about, listen to what's going on with the technical stuff since we have you here. And I see that you have the Punk, Peace and Love as the Harmonaut. I actually have one from the Da Vinci. It's stuck, but Bones has an old school one. So just a brief history going back to the beginning of the show. The Harmonauts came out with the Punks, and the Harmonauts came out about the same time. They built the two marketplaces before there was a marketplace on Harmony 1, and then basically the team kind of disappeared. I think they're pretty much the same team. On the Harmonauts side, though, we ended up making our own Discord just in case the original people got rid of it, and plus we had the authority to change the permissions and make it our own, which is nice because the other one I'm still in there and there's lots of bots in there and I can't boot them. Anyway, we started a multi-sig. We threw some funds in there the last run, and we had talked about how we wanted to proceed, and we all got together. The first group, there's probably 50-ish of us, 50 to 100. We wanted to make a token. We named the token Harmony OG, the hog, but then it was probably another 6 months before we actually launched it. And then it got launched in the beginning of 23, basically, maybe the end of 22. And we started adding liquidity to it. And now we got a decent, we've taken it from nothing to number 5 on swap.country. So that's kind of cool. I can't tell how much liquidity is on Sushi because the numbers are whack. So I do appreciate the metrics on swap.country, and I like the pools on there and stuff like that. So yeah, we got that going, and then that kind of spun into CryptoLand DAO, because that's just kind of what started off as my own personal Discord to have safe links to not click on the wrong links. We all hear about the wrong links and stuff like that. And I was having to go, back and forth through Twitter or going to my saved pages. So I just wanted to have my links in one spot. And I basically threw an invite in the Harmonauts Discord, and someone jumped in, and I was like, well, it's not a private server anymore. So anyway, it kind of grew, and I've been wanting to. I had a vision to be able to leverage the hog token and basically kick off a treasury and start the DAO with CryptoLand DAO. And it's been something I thought up last summer, and now we just went live yesterday. So we have our Crypto Legends for sale. They're $12 in one, 650 one, whatever that price is now. Basically, you buy an NFT, and whenever you stake the NFT, the wage token comes out, and that's the only place that the emissions come from is staking the NFT. So I included the document in here in the website. The website's I think it's pinned on my profile as well. There's even Space Whale. TAC made a cool how-to video there for people coming on there because the mint is kind of hidden there, but you just kind of mint your stuff and then you approve everything and then you stake it and you're earning wage. And I think it's you earn about 140 wage per hour per Crypto Legend. So yeah, again, I won't go into all the details, but it's going for 2 more weeks on there, and then we're actually going to burn whatever we don't mint. Hopefully we'll mint out, but after that, then the tokenomics really take off. Like say what happened was it's a 10,000 collection. we sent 5,000 to the multi-sig, the CryptoLand multi-sig, and then we're minting 5,000. So after 2 weeks, whatever we don't mint gets burned. So say we only mint 1,000, then we're going to burn 4,000, which is 40% of the token supply. So then it changes the whole tokenomics. So it's kind of fun play, and Meta One class did awesome. TAC is actually the artist. I don't know if he wants to speak up. He's launching another project. We're trying to kind of co-mingle, and that's kind of the vision of CryptoLand DAO. Is kind of similar to what I'm doing here, is just trying to help communicate. So something I think I spoke up maybe 3 years ago-ish, coming on some kind of Harmony One talk. It's all scared and first time talking. I just thought it'd be cool to have some kind of a switchboard operator. Well, now we have AI that we can probably do that with, but you do need some human interaction. So hopefully, CryptoLand DAO can eventually be a place to help with the communication, help with onboarding. We want to connect. I mean, this is what happened. I mean, I connected with the artist and the dev, and I was able to kind of promote it and sell my dream. That some stuff I'm good at and some stuff other people are good at, and we leveraged all our stuff and we launched it, and it went great. And I appreciate everybody's support. And I'm working on getting the final vision together, but there's a talk.harmony one, I think, on this document. The links on there to go mint your NFTs. You can join the Discord with any other information. I just appreciate all the support. It went great. Lots of different twists and turns, and reach out with any kind of questions. But I just wanted to kind of give that a shout out. I guess the other DAO talk would be the Harmonauts DAO has 2 more rounds of the LBI, the Liquid Burn Initiative. That's where we release 10,000 hog into circulation. So there's one coming up. I guess I'll probably try to push that through tomorrow. And then there'll be one next month, and then that comes to an end. And we have another plan coming up for that. And that's been pretty successful. We're burning about 1,000 depegged 1 USDT a month. And we'll see what happens with this market. But, so happy to be able to get the tokens into circulation and get us together to help with recovery, and just even just doing that brings awareness, talking about it and using it. And, so there's 2 more months of that, and they kind of coincide together. So there'll be an opportunity if people want to pick up some hog. Then there's 2 more opportunities, and you can feel free to reach out with the Harmony DAO. I think the Discord invites on the Google Doc. It's cool. It's cool doing the DAOs. We have the recovery Telegram that's been kind of quiet. I know Theo, you joined a little late, but I think I don't know if he's here or not. The recovery exchange is done today. They got rid of all their funds, so that's just incredible that they were able to get rid of 75% with the funds they had this month. So super cool. It's been a good. I think there's one spammer in there that might have to boot. So just so everybody knows, there might be one person trying to push some kind of scammy stuff in there. It's gonna inevitable. But I don't know. We'll kind of throw it up in the air. We're getting pretty close there. It's pretty good talk today. You guys have any other stuff? Look like Theo dropped down. Spacewell, you gonna say anything? The artist, the project coming up, the minting experience, and again, I appreciate that the how-to. That's just a video is worth a million words.
Oh no, I saw that that people were confused, so I thought I add a video in there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm very nervous whenever I talk in a space. I'm not good at spaces, but I'm Space Whale. I'm the artist and founder of the Anunnaki Club, and I'm helping. I did I did the art for Tenacious, and also we did another collab type NFT with the art that I made for him, plus my stuff, and like this really cool 3D high quality NFT boxed editions. So I got that coming to the chain. My personal reason why I decided to build on Harmony is because I found that it's supportive compared to like a lot of other chains that are just hostile and toxic. I've found that Harmony is very like everyone's like calm. Nobody's like trying to compete against each other. It's a big space. You know, um, but yeah, I got more updates coming in the next months.
Cool.
Is there,
Thanks for talking.
isn't there something where if you the first person to mint the CLD NFT gets one of the baby punks?
Oh, okay. So the way that works is um, you're basically participating. Basically said mint and stake CLD NFTs to earn a wage, and then obviously you'll need the wage and hog to mint the Gov CLD. So after that finishes, like this is like basically a competition, and then whoever owns like the Gov CLDs, there would be a like a raffle between them, and whoever wins this NFT would be reserved, and then during the launch, which right now what I'm projecting is Q3 or Q4 of this year, because it takes some time to render the NFTs, and then they'll get their NFT, and I offer staking and stuff, a whole bunch of cool things that I've created.
Yeah, you have an awesome vision. Yeah, we there's also a Sunday meeting that happens in the CryptoLand Discord. Follow this account for more information. It's every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. UTC. I've only missed one in the last year for vacation. Hoping to do that in the fall again this year. One other thing, yeah, we also have the one competition that we have so far is the first person to get the CLD, which will take 1 million wage and 450 hog. They'll win one CL as well. We have 99 other NFTs, like worth about $1,200 or so. We're going to be giving away over the next 2 months. And the last thing would be it's a perfect example. If you see the picture that Space Whale shared, it has a picture of his project and our project. So that's kind of the epitome of CryptoLand DAO. Is we want to be able to. We're kicked off. We have a governance token and treasury, and now we'll be able to have a little fund to be able to help and support the rest of the ecosystem. So it's perfect. You got now you got the two guys. I call them crypto friends. Maybe it'll be something else, but it's really cool art. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and yeah, we definitely all hang out on Sundays. Anybody's welcome to come. We're hoping to make it more of a educational series coming up as well, and maybe do some YouTubes. But yeah, awesome guys. I saw Theo drop down. Peace and love. You got anything on boy? Guess not. He might be. He said he might be having phone problems before. Oh, I know. It's Peace and love was like on some of the OGs. I think talking for the community DAO efforts back. I don't know how many years ago. So I remember talking with him a long time ago, and he's kind of inspiration to follow and learn from. Pleasure working with you. Fun with the RMC and everything that we're doing, supporting the ecosystem and hanging out for such a long time. And look forward to doing more. And yeah, I'll try to update the document within the next couple days. And Theo, if you just want to reach out, however, if there's any specific stuff that you want, because I got overwhelmed when I opened up that other document. There's a lot of stuff in there. So if there's any holes that you need, let me know and I'll try to fill that in. Otherwise, maybe Bones, you got a closing joke or something? I'm definitely not going to tell a joke. All right. We can talk about throughout the time too to see if we can maybe potentially do an hour later or something to see if we can get Soph, or if we can talk with some other core devs to see if we can get them on here. That'd be fantastic as well. Otherwise, I guess we'll call it good, and appreciate everybody for showing up. Thanks for everybody for listening, and yeah, reach out if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk about on these shows. It's hopefully it's interactive, and I appreciate the Harmony core team and Theo and everybody for showing up and participating, and just keep going. So I hope everybody has a great day, evening, and all that other stuff, and we'll see you around soon.